IPMNation.com.
Alex Jones here. As you probably heard, I was banned from Facebook, Apple, and Spotify. You know, you advocate killing one person and millions of fans with dissociative identity disorder, and suddenly everyone loses their sense of humor. Yes, I am under attack, just like the Jews in the Holocaust that may not have happened.
Freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech is enshrined in the Constitution. That means anything you do with your face hole is protected by the First Amendment, such as firing blow darts, driving a bulldozer with your teeth into a hospital, and shoving a grenade in a dolphin's blowhole while screaming, "Sayonara, Flipper!"
So long, Flipper.
I am here for one reason only. Speaking truth to power. That is my singular motivation. Buy my Cortex Quick pills and you will not die! Now available in mixed berry.
Cortex Quick.
Do not believe anyone who says these pills are just spray-painted Mike and Ike's.
No, sir.
Let's bring on the last remaining bastion of logic and civility, Donald Trump Jr.
I caught a big fish.
You met with the Russians to get dirt on Hillary Clinton. So tell the folks why the mainstream media is blowing this whole thing out of proportion.
Last time I checked, there's no law that says you can't conspire with a foreign country.
Right, and well, except there are laws against it. I can get behind a complicated theory here, but you got to ground it in something.
Look at it this way. Hillary colluded with the Russians, which is bad, but I colluded with the Russians, which is good.
Please, do not make me be the voice of reason here.
Let me start over. I caught a big fish.
You are disconnected from reality.
Interview over.
76! Tomorrow I will address these rumors that my brain is constantly spinning like a rotisserie chicken.
InfoWars.
Hey, Mom. Working. Yeah, I got a new job. Yeah, I am a manager at a really fancy restaurant. Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, I needed some extra cash for my Fire Island trip next weekend, so... Yeah, it's good. It's good. Oh, actually, Mom, let me call you back. I have a customer. All right, bye. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Welcome to Chick-fil-A. How can we help you today, girl? Welcome to Chick-fil-A. Step right up and order, hey. Try our spicy chicken sandwich. It's the best one on the block. Our chicken's great and full of hate. You know you want some big fat.
Thank you so much.
I wasn't finished with the song. I didn't even get to the bridge.
I apologize.
It's fine, whatever. What can I get for you?
Oh my goodness, that's a darn good question. I don't know how to answer that.
Would you like to try one of our world-famous chicken sandwiches?
There's just so many of them, though. Oh my goodness. I don't know how to answer that. I honestly don't. I don't know.
Oh my God. Okay, that's a number 2 hold a slaw, number 4 large waffle fry, 2 large Cokes, and 1 6-piece kids meal. Can I get a name, please?
Sarah Palin.
Thank you. Please step down. Next guest. Welcome to Chick-fil-A. Oh, hey, Rick. What do you have today? The usual?
The Catholic Church teaches that homosexuality is a sin. I'm a Catholic, and I subscribe to the Catholic Church's teaching.
Okay, that's a 6-piece chicken strips, large waffle fry, and a medium Diet Coke. Hey, Rick. Rick, look who's Chick-fil-A's Employee of the Month. It's me. You get a crown.
The Catholic Church teaches that homosexuality is a sin.
Step down, please. Next, welcome to Chick... God, why am I so busy? What is this day?
Wednesday, August the 1st, Appreciation Day for Chick-fil-A.
Oh, cute. It's a holiday.
The activist gay community has just gone crazy about this.
Well, you know the gays. Any excuse for an event. Excuse me. Chick-fil-A, what?
I pray God's mercy on our generation that has such audacity to try to redefine what marriage is all about.
Oh, hey, Mr. Kathy. Everything's going really well. It's just we're super busy right now. I didn't realize today is Chicken Pride Day or whatever. So we're packed. All these gay guys in suits are here with their hags.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah, well, let me call you later, Kath.
Uh-huh.
My boss, she's such a nervous Nelly. I'm sorry, so what did you want?
To simply allow us to continue in the traditional view of traditional marriage.
Oh, you mean like the bottom's parents are supposed to pay for the reception and stuff like that? That's so old-fashioned.
Your question to him was whether he supported gay marriage, and my answer is the same as his, and it is that I do not.
Pretty conservative for a tranny.
Oh, heck no.
Order up, girl. Thanks, sweetie.
Oh, my goodness.
That really was just too far.
What the heck just happened?
Talk about chicken, right? I'm kidding. Okay, we are out of Muppets toys, but I'm putting in extra ketchup and some condoms for the kids.
Oh, heck no.
And you're all set. Thanks so much for choosing Chick-fil-A. Come again.
No, absolutely not.
Oh my God, I love this song. Turn it up.
Catholic Church teaches that homosexuality is a sin. I'm a Catholic and I subscribe to the Catholic Church's teaching.
Marriage is not two men. Marriage is a man and a woman.
What the heck just happened?
Grow up, live in the real world, right? Auto sequence starts. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't know who that is, and I don't care.
Hey, everybody, welcome. It is that time again. Matt Connarton Unleashed. We're live on WMNH 95.3 FM in hot, sticky, humid downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 in Manchester, streaming at WMNHradio.org. And on Facebook via Facebook Live on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. Today is Tuesday, June 18, 2019. And, of course, we are live, which means you can call us at 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also, of course, interact and interject and opine in the Facebook Live chat. I see Heidi Hamer is in there. Hello, Heidi. Jenny is in there. Rocky Huber, of course, who was just messaging me on Facebook a few minutes ago. Heidi Hamer says, good afternoon from Goldenrod. Well, good afternoon to you, Heidi, and I hope you're enjoying Goldenrod. They have bathrooms there. We'll get to more on that in a moment. Hello to Dr. Jeff Cassell, who joins us in the Facebook live chat. Sherry Erickson Wolford says, crying out loud, how long is this intro? Well, good afternoon to you, Sherry. Welcome. Hello to Wayne Noel in the Facebook live chat, as well as Tony Petrello. Jenny says, wow, she's evil too. I think referring to Heidi. I doubt that very much, Jenny. I'm sure that Heidi is at Goldenrod as we speak and loving it. Just enjoying Goldenrod so much. Hello to Rob Reed. I believe that's a new name in the Facebook live chat. Hello, Rob. And if you are just joining us, if you're watching online on the Facebook, on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page, you might notice I am wearing this lovely Goldenrod shirt. Actually, I'll turn around for a second for those of you who are watching online so you can see the back of it. Well, there we go. So the back of it's got the big logo on it. The front's just got, on the pocket there, the small logo, which I love. I think that looks very classy. Have the big logo on the back, but have a small logo on the chest. So I was very happy to see this. Peter White, who now would prefer to be known, I believe, as Goldenrod Peter, from listening to the morning show, he left me this Goldenrod shirt, which I'm very, very happy about. And let's see, we have our first call of the show. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hello. I wanted to apologize for earlier.
Oh, boy. I'm actually going to cut your theme music short, Easy G, because if I
was kind of a jerk earlier. I wanted to apologize.
Easy G, yes. And in a moment, I'm going to play exactly what happened earlier, Easy G, when I called into the morning show, and you were very mean to me. You were very mean, and were I capable...
I blame Daryl Dion and Peter Goldenrod Peter for rounding me up today.
Yeah, and what would the king of all farts,
Their
your
fault.
father, say to
I
you?
still take blame, though.
You do take the blame.
But they should take partial blame.
Oh, they should they? They're responsible for your actions and deeds and your insulting words and your hurtfulness and your cruelty. Are they?
Well, that's why I call up and say...
to blame them?
Sorry for what I said.
Okay, even though it's not
It takes a strong man to say they're sorry.
Oh, and a self-congratulatory one, too, in this instance, apparently, EZG. Well, please allow me to not only accept your apology, but congratulate you on your strength, because you're such a big, strong man.
Yeah, By the way, my boss heard the whole show this morning.
Oh, your boss at
He
Cremeland?
thought it was quite interesting.
Yes. Your boss, Nicole?
My boss from the
whom you
Cremeland.
speak of, yes.
But he's definitely going to check into getting some shirts because Peter, Goldenrod Peter, and Daryl Dion said they would wear some official Cremeland shirts on the Boenig show.
Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah, sure.
So maybe I can convince her and twist her around to get a shirt for you.
Yeah,
what size do you take, Matt?
We're all going to totally do that. Yeah, sure. I can wear either a medium or a large. I'm flexible that day. It depends on my...
I'll see if I can get her a large Cremeland shirt. Would you wear it on the air if I get you one?
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah. It depends on my water intake that day, what size I wear, if I'm retaining water or not. You understand, EZG.
I can barely hear you for some reason.
Yes, I noticed that when I called the morning show.
To fall apart.
It is difficult to hear, yes. But please, by all means.
I'm going to try to get you one. Hopefully you'll wear it on the air.
Yes, hopefully I will.
Goldenrod, you should support the other store called Cremeland.
Oh, of course, yes, of course. Why wouldn't I?
So I'll see what I can do to get you a nice free Cremeland shirt. When my boss says that her shirt is better than Goldenrod.
Those are some big words. Those are some big words from your boss.
So on that note, I'll leave you and have a great show.
All right, EZG. Thank you. All right. Well, that was nice. You know, I've never, this is a unique experience for me. I've never had someone apologize to me and then in the same breath congratulate themselves for apologizing to me. That's wonderful. Now that I'm thinking about it, though, I think that I saw on Court TV or something. Is that even still a thing, Court TV? I think that's probably long gone. I think years ago I did see something once where someone had committed a terrible crime against someone's family, and then they said to the judge, you know, I'm really very sorry about this. And by the way, it takes a very strong person to apologize. So let's see. I'm going to play for you in a moment. Here we'll introduce our guests, and then I'll play for you exactly what it is that happened on the morning show that EZG was calling to apologize for, and then congratulated himself for apologizing for. But the Honorable Gary S. Hopper is here.
Man, I didn't know you were going to be here, and I don't think my microphone's on.
Yeah, it is.
It is? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can't hear me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's your name again?
My name is Matt. I can hear you great.
This is my friend Seal.
Hi, Seal.
Well, it's not my friend. I actually just met him outside. I was panhandling again.
Sure.
So I was panhandling, and I was asking for money because I was hungry, and people look at my belly and just kind of laugh and walk on. He actually gave me a quarter and said, go call somebody who cares. So
right.
He was the first person to actually give me money today, so I thought I'd bring him up and do the show.
I don't think you can call someone with a quarter anymore.
You can't.
I don't think so, no. Oh, all right.
That's the truth. I would never lie about that.
I would hope you would never lie about that.
No.
Well, we might have to ask you more about that in a moment, but do you ever listen to the morning show?
No.
Someone terribly hurt my feelings this morning.
Whoa. When did you develop feelings?
Here's the thing. Were I capable of normal human emotion,
yes,
I would have wept
profusely.
I would have wept a river.
A river.
I would have wept an ocean.
Well, you got to keep drinking some Powerade and stuff to make sure you don't dehydrate.
Wait till you hear this. This was so I called into the morning show.
Yeah.
And this is what transpired. You will be aghast at what was spoken to me when I called the morning show today.
Beans.
You will be aghast.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, that's different then.
Yes.
this call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Excellent.
Good morning. It's Matt Connarton. How are you?
Oh, hi, Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Good morning, Matt. Hey, Matt. How are you?
Good. Hey, I'm very excited. I just woke up, and I was looking at the Facebook Live video, and I love those shirts.
Yeah, can you see Goldenrod on the back of my shirt?
Oh, boy.
It'll be,
yes.
It'll be coming
Oh,
out soon.
magnificent. Do I have one?
Yeah, we got you one, too.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm going to wear it everywhere.
Yeah, we got
and
it.
during the show.
We got it. We got them for everybody. Well,
that is fantastic.
Just me,
because
you, and
that
Daryl.
is my favorite place.
Well, they were
not just my favorite place to eat, but really just my favorite place ever, period, in the history of my life.
Wow. Okay, so and here's the
Strong
thing.
testimonial.
These were complimentary T-shirts, by the way.
Oh, good. Now, did Easy G bring them in?
Yeah.
No. He's been having a hard time with it all morning.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I thought maybe he brought them in because he's trying to get a job there, because he'd probably rather work there than that other place.
Perhaps.
Right.
I don't think so.
Well, what are you going to do in October when the place closes? You're going to want to go down to Goldenrod and tell them you have some experience, and if you're lucky, they may hire you.
No, I'm not going to
You know what? That sounds like a great idea.
Right. You
It's
can
cool
work
as
there
hell.
for the winter.
That's why Thursday I'm going to the job fair to see what else is out there.
Right. Well, Goldenrod will be there in case you want to get in the Goldenrod.
I'm not confident with the Snow Arena with their situation with the Monarchs closing.
Right.
35 days.
Well, Goldenrod it is.
Goldenrod, year-round employment, man.
Yeah, it's too far, though. How would I get there?
Well, you could take a bus. The bus goes out there.
Well, the bus isn't available, so it wouldn't be a good
No, then Daryl lives right out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I can't rely on Darren for rides every day.
Right, that's true. That's true.
You got to plan for the future, Easy G, when it comes to your career.
Well, that's why Thursday I'm going to the job fair. So.
All right. They might even. They might even let.
Well,
you go
anyway, I'm
before
very
October.
excited about these shirts. I'll let you guys go, but this is like the greatest day of my life.
All right, Matt. Well, thank you so much for.
You're a sorry life.
Wow. Low blow.
Sorry, man.
Easy G. You're going to pay for that at 4 o'clock. All right, guys, take care.
Bye.
Can you believe that? The indignity. Can you imagine how hurt that I was?
No.
Now,
I can't. It cut too deep for me to really fathom.
Right, exactly. I mean,
your
this
pain.
And I do love this shirt, this Goldenrod shirt. Now, Easy G, of course, he gets defensive because he works at Cremeland.
Oh,
but this is
so it's like a rival
but
thing.
we're all wearing these Goldenrod shirts because. First of all, Goldenrod has bathrooms. At Cremeland, you can't. There's no bathroom to use. There's no public bathroom at Cremeland,
Right.
which is ridiculous.
It is, but I'm allergic to goldenrod.
You're allergic to Goldenrod.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like Goldenrod that blows around in the air.
That's what you're talking about, right?
No, it's a fine establishment. I even wrote a jingle for them.
You did?
I actually wrote a jingle for Golden. Now, I haven't submitted it to them yet, but let's see. I just got to find the music really quick. I'm very excited to sing it because, and maybe you can even, if you guys have any ideas for it, you can help me with it. But this will be my first time performing it with the official Goldenrod shirt.
Right.
You know. Because Goldenrod, like I said, I mean, they have, that's not the one I wanted. They actually have a bathroom. I mean, can you imagine the indignity of going someplace with no bathroom?
Yeah.
I would be full of rage.
I walk down Main Street, Elm Street a lot. There's no bathroom.
I would be like, you served me this food and this ice cream, and I have no place to evacuate my bowels. I would be enraged.
Well, you'd be uncomfortable anyway.
And that as well. All right,
yeah,
check this out. This is great. You're going to love this. Here it comes. You ready? Goldenrod, I really like your food and your ice cream. So much better than Cremeland. So much better than Cremeland. And then it just kind of goes on for a while about how much I like it so much better than Cremeland.
Right,
yeah. So there you go. So that's my jingle.
I don't know why
Goldenrod.
they haven't called you up and said, "Hey, no, we want to use this and put it on, all over different TV stations."
Right. Well, that's why I haven't approached them. I'm waiting for them
Can you get like
to
a
come
recording,
to me.
like that short recording of what you just did, so I can have it on my show tomorrow night.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It is a great idea.
As long as you give me credit, I don't want them coming to you and being like, "Hey, the Honorable Gary S. Hopper, you got the guy that did the goldenrod jingle?"
I'd say, nope, that's me. That's me. I'll take credit. Oh, yeah. Well, as a politician, as you know, I do take credit for everything that is good.
Well, it is part of the gig.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty
right.
much.
Yeah.
Like if it's sunshine out.
Yeah,
You're
that's
welcome.
all you. That's
You're
all
welcome.
you. I'm thinking about adding a part 2 like, goldenrod, I really like that I can use the bathroom and not go into the woods like some weird woods person after I eat there.
There's no woods at Cremeland.
Oh, no.
No,
so you don't even have that option. What do you have to? What do you have to bring a bucket with you?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's disgraceful. I can't even believe it.
You just have to finish your bucket of chicken quick enough so that.
What? Oh, I see.
Get it?
So it's like
so basically they're recycling.
So it's like dual purpose.
Yeah, dual. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
right.
you gotta talk to this guy. He's pretty interesting.
This gentleman.
Oh man!
You said his name is
man with a quarter.
His name is Seal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Seal.
Yes, you can pull that mic a little closer. You can. Yeah, don't be afraid to.
Yep.
There you go.
Got it.
What would possess you to give the Honorable Gary S. Hopper a quarter?
Oh man, he's a great guy. You know.
Well, there's a.
The sad thing about it is,
I'm a great guy. Nobody gave me a quarter. I mean, did you hear that
The sad
jingle?
thing about that, the whole
Yes.
thing is, he's a Republican. I'm a Democrat, but we still get along.
Right. Yes. Well, he's pretty conservative.
Yeah, he's way out there to the left.
You ever really talk to him? I mean,
well, I'm gonna listen to a show tomorrow night, so that can tell me all about him.
Well, tomorrow night I got the ACLU on talking about your Manchester's observing their desire to observe people on a regular basis.
Oh yes, yes,
it's positive.
Wow. Yeah. Didn't you have them? You had them on recently too, didn't you?
Yeah, we were talking about the death penalty and what other bill? There was another bill. It's really funny. My relationship with the ACLU is really funny because I get along with them very, very well on a few like privacy issues.
Yes.
Because I don't think the government has any right knowing where you are, when you are, where you're going, or where you've been. It's none of their damn business.
Right.
They get their tax money. Shut up and leave us alone.
Yes.
And but then when it comes to abortion and stuff like that, we are on opposite ends of this.
Right. Right.
But other than that, we get along. I get along with the people at ACLU very well.
Yes. Yes.
Because we're like in accord on a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my son-in-law Jerry. He's also
Jerry.
Here.
Yes.
And that's his midget.
Oh, okay. I don't think we're supposed to say that anymore, Gary.
He's 5.
To
He's supposed to be a midget.
No, I think children are just small.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Oh,
no.
Yeah. So you haven't had like an extended conversation with him?
Well, he's. I live in the same building as his daughter and his son-in-law.
Okay.
So he come often.
So anyway, tell him a little bit about your story, your business ventures, and.
Well, oh man, I have a lot of story. I speak with an accent because I came from Africa, which is West Africa, Sierra Leone, and I've been in the U.S. for 25. I'm a veteran from the Marine. Served twice in Afghanistan and Iraq. So.
Oh wow!
And I'm here. Yeah, and I do a lot of solo business. Believe it or not, I'm a guy, but I own a beauty supply store. So.
Oh, okay. Hey, that's it's whatever. It's 2019.
It's 2019, and whatever you bring the money in, you can do. I'm willing to do it. So yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Is that how you guys met at the?
No, we met. We met.
Well, does it look like I have kind of a nice rosy cheeks today? Or?
You do.
Yeah,
you do.
A certain glow.
Yes. You are glowing.
Well,
nice man.
Yes.
We met because at the house I have the Marine flag. So he was asking my daughter, and my daughter explained to him it was my dad, and he wanted to introduce himself to me, and I introduced myself to him, and then we're having good conversations since then.
Yes.
Yeah. And then he said that he'd kind of like to, and I don't know, you probably know more about this than I do. He's not sure if you'd like to do maybe a radio spot or a TV spot? Because there's a lot
there's
of
there's a lot of Africans in Manchester. Manchester have a large community of Africans.
Yeah.
Different set of Africans. There's a lot of East Africans. There's a lot of West Africans out here, which is you got the Nigerians, you got the Sierra Leoneans, you got the Liberians, and the Ghanaians, which is West Africa. And then you come down to Central Africa, which is you got the Congolese and the Sudanese out here. So there's a lot of Africans, and I would love to introduce some Manchester, some of our culture, music wise.
Yeah,
and I think it'll be great for the city. It'll be great for us too, as Africans, feel like we're home sometimes when we can actually turn in one day, say, hey, you know what, let's listen to African music and talk about, African politics and how Africa's, not only for Africa, just, human being in general, educate a lot of people about Africa, because a lot of people, when they look at Africa, they feel like Africa is like, like all safari and stuff like that, but Africa's not even close to that.
Right.
Africa's bigger
wait a
than
second, wait, you're breaking my...
Africa's bigger.
I can't cope with this. I'm leaving.
Africa's bigger than that, man. So, so I would love to introduce that to Manchester.
We once had a vice presidential candidate who didn't realize that Africa was a continent.
Who is that? Who is that?
You're right.
You really don't know? You can guess.
No, really?
You can guess.
I don't want to know.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right about that.
I don't know about that. A lot of those things, like I can see Russia from my house, was all BS. That was never. Was never anything she ever said.
Here's the thing. She didn't literally say those exact words.
Yeah.
But if you watch the clip of what she did say, it was actually worse.
Right.
It just, if you wanted to summarize what she said, she basically said, "I can see Russia from my house." If you were to sum it up, but what she actually went on, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
She went on this convoluted thing about, because she was asked about, as governor of Alaska, what foreign policy qualifications does she have? And she went on something about, when Putin wants to leave Russia and go somewhere and he pokes his head up, where does he have to go? He has to, look at Alaska. It was really bizarre.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That was actually, Alaska was the only place the Japanese took a foothold on American territory during World War II.
Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that.
That is correct.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was really cool is they went into the Aleutian Islands, okay? And so then the Americans had the good idea to ask the Inuits, I believe is the native tribe, how to survive on those islands. And so they recruited, I don't know how many of them, and they did a recon, and they showed some of the GIs how to survive in this weather.
Yeah,
because you really have to be smart, or you'll die. And so they went on to one of the Aleutian Islands to work their way towards the island where the Japanese were, and the Inuits told the military, said, "Do not bring any mechanized vehicles on this island. They will not go anywhere." And don't bring too many troops because they can't survive. There's not enough food, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So they were trying to just get on the island to get adapted, and most of them died. The Inuits were fine, but most of them died because they brought jeeps, they brought this junk, and the jeeps couldn't go anywhere because it was all like bogs and moss, and it was not really inhabitable.
Yeah,
and so. But anyway, and then by the time they made it over to the end of the Aleutian Islands where the Japanese were, they had already left because they also realized how stupid that was.
Oh, okay. Well, not to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but do you think the Aleutian Islands are even real?
I get it.
You like that?
Illusion
you see what I did there?
That was really dumb.
That's why I have this gig.
I know. That's why you're top of the ratings.
Yes. That's why I represent Goldenrod now here. Goldenrod. Did you heard my jingle?
Yeah, I did.
I will create for you a really good version, and I will email it to you later.
Don't email it to
Brendan.
Brendan, yeah.
Okay.
Because I won't have.
Yeah. I'll send him a video file, and I'll make sure the Goldenrod logo is on it.
Yeah, so Seal was had that nice Marine flag out in front. And I know I've said it on my show, but my dad was a jarhead, so I pretty much kind of grew up in boot camp. Actually, I don't know if you did that to your kids.
No, actually, I grew up I grew up in a military barracks all my life.
Really?
Yes. My dad is a British soldier.
Oh,
went to Sierra Leone. Actually, I'm not really African, but I was born in Scotland. To be honest,
you were born in Scotland.
I'm a black man that was born in Scotland. Yes.
I don't think that's. I don't buy that. There's no freaking way.
Actually, that's not that unusual, is it?
No, it's not. But
No.
but the thing is,
but it's funny. It's still funny.
So my dad was sent.
We have to teach him.
I know. My dad was sent to Africa to work in the embassy.
Oh, okay.
So as a MP, which is military police.
Yeah.
So and I and he ended up having a job with the military government there to train some of the military in Sierra Leone, and that's how I ended up with my mom. My mom is an African woman.
Okay.
Yeah. So and I was
So how did you get to the United States? That doesn't seem to.
In 1996, we was in Sierra Leone where they had the war, which is the Blood Diamond movie and all that.
Yeah.
So the British came in and sent some troops with the United States, took the citizen out of the country. So at that time, my dad asked me where I want to go, if I want to come to America or UK, and I said, hey, my mom is in U.S., which is San Jose, California. I said, I'll come to the United States. So that's how I ended up here about 23 years ago.
So then you had to become a citizen.
Well, I'm a UK citizen. So what happened was how that worked when you come to America.
Right.
You got a visa.
Yeah.
Okay. And I got a student visa. After my student visa expired, I applied for a green card.
Okay.
And which is I got my green card. And after 5 years later, you apply for citizenship.
Okay.
So now, because of that, I apply for citizenship. I have dual citizen, which is UK citizen and United States citizen.
So you're schizophrenic, is what you're saying?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
That's what.
So it's a long process, and because of us that went through that process, it's not fair when other people just come just like that.
Yeah.
And it's pin in the butt. It drives me crazy because we pay to become where we at today. You
not only pay, you work your butt off to get it.
Exactly.
Right. You got to really want it to be an American citizen.
So it's kind of bothered me when people talk about immigration and talk about immigrants and say, you know what? Yeah, we understand. United States is an immigrant country.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. It's fine, but at the same time, you got to pay your dues to become a citizen.
Yeah.
We just can't give it to you just like that. And like I said, I'm a Democrat speaking like that.
Yeah, you're probably going to get kicked out of the party pretty soon.
It's all right. My mind is all independent, so that's all it is.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny because most people, I think, are kind of independent.
Yes.
It's just if you ever run for office, you have to pick or vote.
Right.
You have to pick a party. You pick a party that, okay, there's 20 issues. I agree with 17 of these. So
you're right.
This is where I am. But you're not really. I think there's some older people who are Democrats because their father was a Democrat and their grandmother was a Democrat or Republican for the same reason.
Right.
But I think most of us are just independent.
The other thing is Africans. A little bit about Africans. Africans, when they come to America, for some reason, they automatically Democrat. The reason why is because of the, like you said, they meet older Africans. For example, if I meet an older African in America, I become friends with them because we all have something in common.
Right.
And now, you ask them, what way do you swing? Someone say 90% of them is Democrat. So for me, my parents didn't even teach me, didn't even say become a Democrat or Republican. Yeah. It was something which is already planted in my head.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to bet, and I don't know that, but I'm willing to bet socially.
Yeah.
Most Africans are Republican. In other words, they don't believe in all this socialism and communism.
Absolutely not.
There's no way that they buy that.
The reason why they won't buy that because of we come from a countries like that.
Yeah.
When there is no democracy and there's no how you call it? there's a lot of socialisms.
I would suggest that most Democrats don't believe in communism either.
60% of Democrats right now believe, or supposedly, if you can believe the polls, I don't really, because there depends on who they interview, but roughly 60% of Democrats believe in socialism.
Well, these terms have gotten very muddled. Socialism isn't communism.
And it's pretty it's the next step.
I think we already have some level of socialism. I mean, we have
We have social programs, but that's not socialism. Socialism is when the government controls the means of production.
Right, but where the terms have become muddled is there's a difference between socialism and democratic socialism. And so...
No.
Yeah.
Not really.
So if you want to muddle up the terms, which is what the right does, the right muddles these terms so that everyone walks around going, oh, if I vote for a Democrat, I'm voting for communism.
Democratic socialism.
And you just tried to do that a minute ago.
Democratic socialism means...
Because first you said communism, then you switched it. So you tried to play that trick.
No, because I believe socialism and communism are just different sides of the same coin. Okay, so democratic socialism, all that means is you get to vote in who's in control of your socialist government. It doesn't mean it's a socialist. It's not socialist. Socialist government means that the government is in control of the means of production in the country, and it dictates who gets what money when, and that is pretty like it was called the United Soviet Socialist Republic.
Mm-hmm.
It was a socialist government and or communist. The government controlled production. It controlled who grew what, who owned the land. There's no, in democratic socialism or socialism, you eliminate ownership of land because the government controls the land.
Mm-hmm.
So all the things this country was founded on are juxtaposed to socialism. You can't have socialism and thrive. It just kills everything.
See, this is my problem though with the whole thing. See, I have a broader issue with the way this whole debate is currently being framed in this country.
Yeah.
Because to me it's not this binary thing. Like everybody on both the right and the left is talking like, okay, so now we have to, you either have socialism or you have capitalism, and you can't have both. You got to pick either or.
Yeah.
And it's like the entire country has decided to hypersimplify this into this binary choice, when in reality, we have a mixed economy. We have a mix of capitalism and socialism. We've always had a mix of capitalism and socialism. We always will have a mix of capitalism and socialism.
No.
And what it really is, to me, it's a debate about, do you want larger government or smaller government, which is the debate that it's always been. But now everyone has turned it into this binary thing. Well, you can vote for Republicans and you can have capitalism, or you can vote for Democrats and you can have socialism.
Yeah.
And one of the two is going to completely go away.
No, because you're still on your Wayback Machine, Matt.
Yeah.
If you look at what Ocasio-Cortez and most of the Democrats, remember the Green New Deal?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody remembers the Green New Deal.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think almost every Republican Democrat, either signed on to it. The senators, I think, all signed on to it that are running for president.
Oh, I don't think that's true.
Oh,
No,
yes,
that's not
they
true.
did.
The House, they haven't signed on it yet.
Yeah,
A lot of them,
a lot of them
don't.
didn't agree with it
Joe
yet.
Biden sure didn't.
Joe Biden didn't, but then he came out with his own version of it.
Right.
Okay. So
Well, yes,
which is basically going to be the same thing.
Well, yeah, you're right. All the Democrats want to do something about climate change.
No.
If that's
Right.
what you're saying. Yeah, you're right.
Then read the understand. You have to understand what the Green New Deal is. Then the Green New Deal is the centralization of the population, and by doing so, eliminating private ownership of land, private ownership of vehicles, or maybe one vehicle.
I'm not arguing in favor of it, by the way.
I know, but listen to what it is.
I am arguing in favor of doing something because I do believe in climate change.
Yeah.
But we have a call. Let's grab this. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Your old pal Fred.
Fred Boenig from the Daily Ripple. How are you,
He mentioned
sir?
my favorite word.
What's that?
Socialism.
Ah. All right.
Okay, I have a question for the panel there.
Yes.
Okay. And I posted it in the Facebook, all right?
Oh.
Name 2 countries with universal health care, subsidized, and don't you know, Matt, so don't do what you answer.
Okay.
All right. Name 2 countries with universal health care, subsidized colleges, universal background checks, inmates vote, medical marijuana, 30% union membership, and state-sponsored abortion. What 2 countries have that?
I didn't know about the marijuana, but I know Korea fits at least a couple of those. I don't. North Korea. I'd go with Russia and North Korea.
And just in your case, you're really close.
Hey, I was really close about something.
That's
as good as I get.
Well, I was going to say Canada and Sweden.
Canada and Israel.
Israel. Okay, I was going to say
So
Canada
those
and
are
Sweden.
socialist countries. Those are all falling apart. People are the government's running their businesses.
Those aren't
and they
socialist.
have all the exact things.
Those are not
that,
socialist countries.
AOC wants.
No, that is not true. That is not what she wants, and those aren't socialist countries. Those are countries, capitalist countries, with socialist or socialized aspects of their economy.
Right, same as here.
That is not. It's not. It is not what she wants. That is not what she said, and that's not what the Green New Deal is. The Green New Deal is to centralize everybody. Okay, I'll give you an example. If the Green New Deal was implemented tomorrow, you would lose about. I'm just guessing because I can't know the exact numbers, but probably 60 to 70% of the vehicles on the roads in New Hampshire, everybody would be moved to Concord, Manchester, or Nashua and Portsmouth. They would be all central.
Why would they move there? Why would they have to be moved there?
Because if you read her Green New Deal, she wants to get rid of airplanes and have every hub of humanity connected by high-speed rail. She wants to get rid of airplanes. She wants to get rid of private cars, and she wants the land to be returned back to its natural state. So that means you can't own land anymore. You live in housing near a city. That's what her Green New Deal is.
Oh, you mean it's not? We should eat less meat because the waste product of a industrial farm is not regulated because one of the waste products of a
all right, look,
industrial...
I have to go, and I'm not going to put up with this crap. I got to ask you. No, I got a serious question for you. Go ahead. What do vegetarians feed their cats?
What do vegetarians feed their cats?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a cat, but I'm a vegetarian. I'm actually a vegan. But go ahead.
Oh, all right. There we go. I knew it was something because you just hate hamburgers.
And
you hate hamburgers, and I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet you don't go to the Goldenrod because they serve chicken.
Hey, excuse me. Before a month ago.
Yes, dear.
I was a serious carnivore. I have dead animals all over my house. I own a farm.
Whoa,
right?
Oh gosh, that's gross.
but a month ago,
yeah,
I decided to become a vegan, and what the benefit of that, and the only benefit that I was truly concerned about, was the fact that I've been losing about 1 pound a day.
Yeah.
So if you were a vegan, you might find it was into your best interest because it would be health wise to not be not be overweight.
Yeah, but you know
I
what?
am. I'm not saying you shouldn't be. You
know
can
what?
do whatever you want.
You know
but
what?
I was overweight.
Can I tell you? You know, my personal thing about that is like if somebody said if I smelled like a veggie burger cooking over a grill, and then there was like a steak simmering next to it. You know which one would make my mouth water?
Well, yes. Well, that's probably true for even a lot of vegans.
Yeah, but which one is going to give you the heart attack?
Right.
The steak.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's also a good point.
So, hey,
okay. Well, I mean, that's up to you. But that for me, like I said, I've hunted all over this country. I've hunted Canada. I've hunted all, Texas, all these places. I'm not afraid of killing animals. But my point is that, when you eat one hamburger a week, that's if you stopped eating that would be the energy that it takes to make a pound of meat, say, right? The amount of grain, the amount of fields you have to grow of corn,
right,
is to grow a pound of meat. I mean, it's acres and acres. It's acres of water. It's all this to grow a pound of meat that could be actually feeding people. And the fact that they don't regulate, if you have a coal plant they're up your butt, right? About emissions, right?
Yeah.
Because right? But if you have a factory farm which is putting out tons of, methane gas, which is not being absorbed, they're not figuring a way, if you want to grow cows inside a building and have a vacuum system where you pick up the methane or whatever. But these are byproducts. These are pollutants that they are not actually being responsible on their own part. If manufacturers were responsible to have like zero waste, if you make a product like in other countries, you make a product, you have to be responsible for the pollution it creates.
Yeah, well, I know. Okay, that sounds awesome, but I got to get going seriously. Nothing personal.
Okay.
Like really, literally.
But again, if you think Israel and Canada have problems because they have all the things that actually the Democrats are working for,
that's
all
not.
the
Yeah,
things
but
they
that's
have,
not what the Democrats are working for. That's not what the Green New Deal is. It is not. It is.
We were talking socialism.
Correct.
We were talking socialism, and you're talking about people who don't understand the difference between socialism and social program.
Well, no, because if you, like I said, read the Green New Deal, it is socialism, and that's not what you're talking about. I think it was Denmark. All the liberals says, we want to have a socialist country like Denmark, and I think it was the leader of Denmark says, wait a second, we're not socialist. We're not socialist at all. We have social programs and high taxes because of it.
Right.
We're still a capitalist country. They don't want a capitalist country. They want a socialist country. They want to control everything. That's the only thing Democrats really are good at is controlling. and they're going to it's be like Venezuela 2.0. Hey, I gotta go.
Don't start with Venezuela. Stop. Don't start with Venezuela. They had item economy. They had oil. They took the oil. They made it into nationalized the oil so they could pay for schools and stuff. And then because oil was $100 a barrel, and then it went to $50 a barrel, and they couldn't afford to do those things, and people got upset. The same thing happened in Russia. The reason why Russia went under wasn't because of any other reason than $25 barrels of oil. They couldn't maintain the country because they don't sell anything but oil. You gotta stay away from that. Socialism. When you say socialism, you're talking about things that are social programs where where the workers have a right to regulate the government, not the 1% of business owners, the capitalist person that gets to make the rules. The workers have a right to share in their labor. That's what it's about. And as it says in the International, if you've ever listened to the words, the thing that most important is freedom is just privilege extended, if not enjoyed by one and all. So I'll let you go, Matt.
So Fred, unfortunately, Gary didn't hear most of that because he had to leave.
That's all right.
But I didn't want to interrupt you because I liked what you were saying. But I don't know, can you stay for another second? Because I wanted to get your thoughts.
Yeah, sure, for you. I just didn't want to take up the show.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, I just wanted to get your thoughts on what I was saying, my observation about this whole socialism versus capitalism conversation in this country, because I've been frustrated about it for a while now, and I don't hear anybody else pointing this out. But to me, it's like it's just a weird. I feel like this whole thing has gone so sideways now, where everyone's talking about this binary choice between socialism and capitalism, and I don't know if you heard what I was saying before. But to me, the conversation used to be a discussion between, do we want to have smaller government or do we want to have larger government, and you had people on the right arguing for smaller government and people on the left arguing for larger government. I mean, that in and of itself is a hypersimplification, but to me, that's what the discussion should be more like, because we have a mixed economy. We have both socialism and communism. I mean, see, now I'm doing it. I mean, we have both socialism and capitalism. We have a mix. We've always had a mix. We always will. It becomes a matter of, which way are we going to go more depending on who we elect. And I just feel like everybody's gone to this hypersimplified, on both sides, this hypersimplified binary discussion between socialism and capitalism, and you can't have both, so you got to pick one or the other, and it's just very, very weird to me. And I understand why the right does it, by the way. The right does it because that little, and I called him on it, that little stunt Gary pulled. It's the same thing they all do, all the Republicans. They intentionally conflate communism with socialism. And then when I called him on it, then he changed it and started saying socialism instead of communism. But to me, the whole discussion is kind of weird and off kilter.
Well, the thing that you have to remember that the term socialism is a buzzword that was created to get people who are probably 50 or older nervous because, better dead than red. We had this whole drumming of people hiding under their desks because the communists were coming. We've created wars all over Central America over communism, because people were trying to nationalize things like, their oil company. Well, we can't have Exxon can't have that. We can't have, the United Fruit Company. You can't have union labor because then it's going to cost more. You can't have, this, all these people, that they demonized for a generation. Now, this generation is like, hey, I'd like to be able to go to college like Elizabeth Warren did for $50 a semester instead of, $50,000 a semester. That'd be great. But things have changed because of the way that things have changed. But the younger people understand that there's people making money on them and those people don't want to give it up. People making money on college, people making money on their loans, right? They don't want to give that up, but young people say, I'm all for getting rid of my college loans. And they're all saying, hey, look, I can't afford to go to the doctors. And they're all saying, I want an abortion when I want it and I can't afford it, because abortion is never illegal for rich women. It's only illegal for poor women. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's always the poor minorities that have to suffer from it.
Right.
From not being able to do it. So the whole hypocrisy of we're not going to have a socialist country. And it's like, hey, wait a minute, you own a mortgage, you have a house, you have a mortgage, you get to write off that interest on that mortgage. Well, that would be considered a social program because they made it so that there would be home ownership. But you know what? If I don't own a home, I don't get the benefit from it, and you do.
Right.
When the farmers, they get socialism, Donald Trump's giving them, $15 billion worth of socialism.
Right.
You go to the public life. I always say, they go, well, I don't really know what socialism. I said, well, go to the public library and read about it.
Yeah.
Because the public library is a social program. It's paid for by the people.
Yeah.
It's when people regulate for the people.
Right.
And it's not like this one little oligarchy of people that don't pay taxes. I mean, here's Donald Trump who doesn't pay taxes. He brags about it. I don't pay taxes. I'm smarter than you.
Right.
Really? So who pays those taxes for you? Oh, the rest of us. Because they still have to get paid by somebody.
And I think it was
still have to spend it.
Yeah. By the way, I think it was you who pointed out a couple of weeks ago, you called in, and that same guy is asking you if you're a farmer to do the patriotic thing and take a giant hit. The guy who doesn't pay taxes is asking you to do your patriotic duty. And
Well, and that, of course, the guy who actually said that was Tom Cotton, the guy who can't, who's trying to start a war with Iran,
right.
Because he, and I'm in my mind, because he served in Iraq and Afghanistan, because he served in Iraq, and because some of the terrorists were using these bombs, these like not grenades, but they were like IEDs, that were made, that they were made in Iran, right? And so there was some soldiers that were wounded and killed by American soldiers. So I think this is his bone up his butt for, we need to get in a fight with Iran.
Yep.
And when I met him, the one thing that I cut him off in the middle of a sentence, and when he said, well, the best way to honor the dead, and then he was going to say is to finish the job. And I cut him off on live TV and said, no. it's not to make more dead kids.
Exactly.
That's not how you honor the dead, by making more of them.
Right.
And so, his whole thing is he's been trying, and the fact that he gets millions of dollars worth of support from AIPAC, the Israel lobby. I'm not against Israel. I'm just saying this is a lobbying group that pays him a lot of money, and they don't like Iran. So he's got an agenda, and the fact that when they screw with Iran and they boycott their, and make them or put sanctions on their oil, the price of oil goes up.
Right.
Guess who makes money on that? The Koch brothers, the other people who give him money.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
So you can, this is all agenda driven, money oriented. It's not about patriotism.
Right.
I've never met an Iranian I didn't like.
Yeah.
I mean, I've met plenty of them. The guy who saved my business partner's life speaks Farsi. The guy at the Holiday Inn or wherever I stay, the Comfort Inn in Washington, Pekan, he's the sweetest man I ever met. And he's now an American citizen, but he was from Iran. And he says, your health care program is based on ours. Obamacare is based on exactly what we've been doing for years.
Right.
And just these amazing, they're intelligent people. Iran is 4 times the size of Iraq and twice as many people. And we're still fighting in Iraq.
Well,
and you think we can go there and have a war?
Oh, I know, it's nuts. It's not. Well, I've been reading for years too that the Iranians, particularly young Iranian people, actually really like America. It's the government that's the issue, but the Iranian people are the citizens of the country of Iran are not our enemy.
No, and we're gonna and I'm sure that there's a certain listener of yours out there that is going to call in and say, well, we gave we put millions of dollars on pallets and sent it to them in the middle of the night because of, and I'm going to point out that as when I was sitting in the room with Mr. Carey when he was explaining this, he's explained that the money was from 1979 when they bought munitions from us that we didn't get because because of the Shah.
Yeah,
they didn't get the munitions because they took over, and we've had that money in the bank, and it was worth $2.5 billion in interest.
Yeah.
All right, $2.5 billion in interest on the $400 million or whatever they had in the bank.
Right.
And we whittled it down to 1.7, what we really owed them.
Okay.
So we actually paid them less. And the thing was, we had to pay them part of that in cash because it had to go through different banks because our laws say we could not do, because of the sanctions, could not do business direct money transfer to Iran.
Yeah.
So they had to put the money on a bank, on a pallet, ship it to a bank overseas, which they turned it into another kind of money, and then they paid them through that. It was all legitimate. It wasn't, the middle of the night, whatever. Probably the middle of the night because they had to get there.
Right.
Because of the time zones and shit. So
yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, so that is, this whole nonsense of people believing things that are not necessarily factually true.
Yeah, the person you're referring to did call and brought that up, and but I couldn't remember all the particulars, but I did try, and he didn't argue with me about it when I explained it, but you explained it much better about that was money that was owed to them, and I think because I couldn't.
And it was more. We owed them more. We actually cheated them out of $50 million.
Yeah, I didn't know about that part. That's interesting.
$500 million. I'm sorry, $500 million because we paid them $175 billion and we owed them 2.5.
Yeah, I even
2.2, I believe, or something.
I even remember Trump during the campaign bringing that up. Like, I saw. What did he say? Something about he talked about the pallets,
barrels of money, of money.
Yeah,
barrels of cash. But see, the people believe that. They don't fact check.
I know.
There was a person who was giving me a hard time today because I'm a professional troll. So They were saying, well, the Dems don't want to do anything about immigration. I'm like, wait a minute. There was a bipartisan deal in 2013 that Boehner didn't put on, Paul Ryan didn't put on, and there's probably 30 bills pending in in Congress right now that they're working on for immigration, but the Dems don't want to do anything. Well, they got to get the Republicans to actually bring it to the floor.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but again, they run around and they repeat this stuff that's not true. And
I know.
Again, socialism is, whatever, is a monetary system. But what we do in this country already is a very, very mixed economy, like you said.
Exactly.
There's so much socialism going on.
Right.
There's so many things. Your police department is socialism. Your fire department, the guy who picks up the dead dog in front of your house is socialism. It's where we use the people's money to pay for things that all the people benefit from.
Right. That's right. Social Security, a very, very popular and successful
and funny
socialist
how the name
program.
Works, right?
Social Security. Yeah, you're right.
and again, the two countries that they always want to mention is Venezuela. Yeah, but what about Israel? They have all those exact things.
Yeah,
they have state-sponsored abortion in Israel. And I always say, well, if it's good enough for the Holy Land and it's good enough for God's chosen people, it's good enough for me.
There you go.
All right, I'll let you go.
All right, Fred. Thank you so much for the call, my friend.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, that was Fred Boenig from the Daily Ripple. Always, I'm glad that Fred knew all the particulars of the Iran thing with the money that was given back to them, that was owed to them, because yes, particularly during the 2016 campaign, some folks tried to portray that as being part of the Iran deal itself, the nuclear deal, that we just gave them all this money, or that we lifted sanctions and then gave them all this money. And it's obviously not that simple. Let's see. Before we take a break, we'll just kind of get caught up in the Facebook live chat. Oh, hello to Wayne Noel. Michael Martineau is in there as well. Hello. We might have to circle back to this. Fred posted a link to something. Hello, Chris Rose in the Facebook live chat. Jenny said, typical politician move, run away, referring to Gary leaving. And Gary joins us in the Facebook live chat. I want to look at this just before we go to break. Fred posted this link about the Sarah Palin thing, because that had come up earlier. Sarah Palin, who I always say, Sarah Palin, she's like my standard joke about her. I've said it many times. Forgive me if you've heard it, but reminds me of a Hooters waitress with learning disabilities. To this day, it shocks me that she was had McCain. I mean, it's such a cliche, but had McCain been elected president, she would have been a heartbeat away from the presidency. The woman who crumbled under the weight of being asked a softball question by Katie Couric, like, what periodicals do you read? Remember that? What magazines and newspapers do you read? And Sarah Palin under that, like, it wasn't like this really complex, deep policy question or anything. It was just, what do you read? What magazines and newspapers do you read? And Sarah Palin just crumbled, just couldn't handle it. that question. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is from Snopes, is what the link, because we were talking about Sarah Palin. Did she really say, I can see Russia from my house? So according to Snopes, 2008 GOP VP candidate Sarah Palin did not say, I can see Russia from my house. That line originated from an SNL spoof. So only because we were talking about it, let me see if I can find really, because I know where SNL got the idea to include that in the sketch. And it was, as I was explaining, when Gary and his friend were still here, Sarah Palin was asked about her foreign policy credentials at one point. And while she didn't say, literally say, I can see Sarah Palin, I can see Russia from my house, what she actually did say was something far more rambling and convoluted and bizarre. And I'm 99.9% sure that that's where SNL got the idea. And actually, no, it had to have been, in fact, because they were spoofing that interview with Katie Couric. Because that was the same interview where Katie Couric asked her, what do you read? And Sarah Palin just fell apart. Okay, here it is. I think I found the clip. This will be
You've
fun.
cited Alaska's proximity to Russia as part of your foreign policy experience. What did you mean by that?
That Alaska has a very narrow maritime border between a foreign country, Russia, and on our other side, the land boundary that we have with Canada. It's funny that a comment like that was kind of made to, I don't know, reporters.
Mocked?
Yeah, mocked, I guess that's the word, yeah.
Well, explain to me why that enhances your foreign policy credentials.
Well, it certainly does, because our next door neighbors are foreign countries. They're in the state that I am the executive of. And
have you ever been
Russia.
Involved with any negotiations, for example, with the Russians?
We have trade missions back and forth. We do. It's very important when you consider even national security issues with Russia, as Putin rears his head and comes into the airspace of the United States of America. Where do they go? It's Alaska. It's just right over the border. It is from Alaska that we send those out to make sure that an eye is being kept on this very powerful nation, Russia, because they are right there. They are right next to our state.
There you go. So that's where SNL got it. I can see Russia from my house. That bizarre word salad. I always say, our current commander in chief, obviously, even less articulate than that, though. I mean, he makes Sarah Palin sound like she's actually got some neurons firing in whatever that thing is she carries around in her head. And I'll tell you this too. So I remember after that election, a lot of, I can think of quite a few actually, Republicans who would never say it publicly, but just in private conversations with people. And no, I'm not referring to the Honorable Gary S. Hopper, who was here. I don't remember him ever saying this. But just other Republicans I knew at the time who kind of said to me, yeah, she was pretty awful. That was definitely a gigantic mistake. Although I don't think, I've never agreed with the theory that if McCain had picked someone better, that he could have beaten Obama. I think the energy was with Obama. Though I think Obama would have won no matter what. But yeah, I have Republican friends who, not necessarily even in politics, just friends of mine who are Republicans who at the time said, yeah, that was kind of yikes. She was not a good pick. And definitely not up to the task. All right, so we're going to take a break. You're listening to Matt Connarton Unleashed. We're live on WMNH 95.3 FM. And I'm going to play, speaking of the great Fred Boenig, this is a track that he had sent me a while ago that I've played a couple times on the show. I really like it. And I think it'll be an appropriate way to end this segment. This is the great Randy Newman, and this track is called Putin. I really, really like this. More to come. Stick around.
Pants on one leg at a time. Me is just like a regular fella. There ain't nothing like a regular fella. Putting his hat on, hat size number 9. You saying Putin's getting big-headed? Putin says just fine. He can drive his giant tractor across the Trans-Siberian plain. He can power a nuclear reactor with the left side of his brain. When he take his shirt off, he drive the ladies crazy. When he take his shirt off, make me want to be a lady. It's the Putin girls. Putin if you put it, when you put it, where you put it. Putin if you put it, when you put it next to me. Putin if you put it, when you put it, where you put it. Putin if you put it, when you put it next to me. Putin hates the Putin girls, because he hates vulgarity. He loves his mother country, and he loves his family. He and his ex-wife Ludmilla ride along the shore of the beautiful new Russian Black Sea. Let's listen in. A great man is speaking. We fought a war for this. I'm almost ashamed. The Mediterranean. Now there's a resort worth fighting for. If only the Greeks or the Turks would start to sniff around, oh, I'd bring the hammer down. so quick their woolly heads would spin. Woolly head, woolly head, woolly head. Oh, wait a minute, even better. What if the Kurtz got in the way? Hey, Kurtz and wait, Kurtz and wait. Sometimes a people is greater than their leader. Germany, Kentucky, and France. Sometimes a leader towers over his country. One shot at glory, they don't get a second chance. Drag these peasants, kicking and screaming, into the 21st century. I thought we'd make it, must have been dreaming. Chicken farmers and fire plugs gonna be the death of me. I can't do it.
Sure you can.
I can't do it.
Yeah, you can.
What makes you say that, girl?
Tell you why. 'Cause you're the boot man.
Who whipped Napoleon?
We did.
Who won World War II?
The Americans.
That's a good one, ladies. So I'll turn and sit in the comfy chair.
And you're the man gonna get us there.
I don't know. Lenin couldn't do it. I don't know. Stalin couldn't do it. Now they couldn't do it. Why do you think I can?
You're gonna be the people to the promised land.
You're right. It's goddamn on the Buddha man.
I can see Russia from my house.
Let me just thank all of you for coming and welcome you, and especially welcome our distinguished guest, Attorney General Eric Holder.
Former Attorney General Eric Holder was in South Carolina yesterday. But unlike every other Democrat, he's not here to win votes.
I'm going to be here just today because I'm on my way to Iowa, and then we're going to New Hampshire next week. I'm not running for president. I'm the only Democrat, I believe the only Democrats who are not running for president, you know?
Holder is actually in this early primary state to get local Democratic leaders to help him make gerrymandering, the manipulation of political boundaries to aid one party, an issue in the 2020 primary.
People always say to me, well, gerrymandering, it's kind of wonky, redistricting. What does that all mean, Well, if you care about reproductive rights, if you care about gun safety, if you care about closing the Charleston loophole, all stuff is intertwined. Because if we elect, and we will elect a Democrat in 2020, I'm confident that we will elect a Democrat in 2020. But he or she could be hobbled by a gerrymandered House of Representatives.
But there's another issue everyone wants the former Attorney General to weigh in on.
How would you assess William Barr's handling of the Mueller report thus far?
I think it's shameful. An Attorney General is not the lawyer for the president. An Attorney General is a lawyer for the people of the United States. I was the Deputy Attorney General during the Clinton administration when we wrote the regulations that resulted in Bob Mueller's appointment. We never assumed when we wrote those regulations that we would have a problematic Attorney General. I wouldn't say we were being naive. We were just kind of looking at our history. We had a couple of bad attorneys general, but, generally pretty good. If we could do it over again, we would have written them slightly differently.
What would you have written differently?
I would not have given as prominent a role to the Attorney General in terms of where the report goes. Maybe I would have said, a simultaneous disclosure of the report to the Attorney General as well as to maybe the chairman of the chair of people of the House Judiciary Committee and maybe the Senate Judiciary Committee, something along those lines, with the understanding that it had to be kept private unless all three of them decided that it was going to be made public. Something like that so you can get it out of the executive branch.
Do you believe the president can be prosecuted?
Yes.
Like in court?
Yeah.
While he's president?
Yes. I think the OLC opinion is wrong. The OLC opinion focuses on the fact that if you indict a sitting president, it will paralyze the executive branch. And I don't. Well, but you know what? If a president is impeached, that has an equally paralyzing impact. But the reality also is that the executive branch can function.
This is Holder's current balancing act.
Everybody needs to get behind me. If you want a photo, or there's going to be no more photos.
Get people in the room with the hope that he'll talk about Mueller and President Trump, and then inject his real message into the conversation. For Holder, this mission has its roots in the 2010 election.
The Republicans will take control of the House of Representatives.
That's the one where Democrats lost the House, lost seats in the Senate, and had almost no influence in the state legislatures that would redistrict in 2011. Post-presidency, Barack Obama and Holder launched the National Democratic Redistricting Committee to promote a comprehensive redistricting strategy.
I would ask you, as I said, to make sure that those presidential candidates are focused on ending gerrymandering, that we have a fair redistricting process, but also people at the state level as well, because it's important that they are focused on this, as they will be the ones drawing the lines come 2021. So we have this NDRC Fair Districts Pledge that we're asking all the presidential candidates to sign, and so far 19 of them have signed.
Which candidate has a plan where they're actually discussing voting rights in a substantial way as well as gerrymandering?
Well, I think they all are to varying degrees. I noticed that, for instance, Mayor Pete, Beto O'Rourke, I think about their announcement speeches, and they talked about unfair redistricting and gerrymandering.
The fundraising arm of the NDRC raised $2.5 million in 2018 and has donated a lot of that money to state-level candidates and state parties. Holder says it's paying off. 5 states had ballot initiatives that were designed to make the redistricting process more fair. His message of fairness is a pretty good way to advertise the dry, complicated topic of gerrymandering. But he has to balance that with a dose of truth. That an even playing field also means that some of those gerrymandered safe seats for Democrats could become real fights.
What I always try to do is push for the positive, push this notion of fairness, because I'm really convinced that in a fair process, Democrats and progressives will do just fine.
Do you think Democrats, if they were to gain control, will district fairly? In Maryland, this was actually a problem. The Democrats tried to gerrymander for themselves.
Yeah, and Democrats tried to do it in New Jersey. And I spoke out very publicly against what they were doing, and they backed down. And I'm prepared to do that. I'm prepared to take on Democrats who would try to gerrymander. We don't need an unlevel playing field. That's what Republicans need. All we need is a level playing field, and we will win. I am confident in that.
I can see Russia from my house.
Welcome back, everybody. We are well in hour number 2. Matt Connarton Unleashed. We're live on WMNH 95.3 FM. Also Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester, streaming at WMNHradio.org. And on Facebook via Facebook Live on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. And if you're just joining us, if you are watching where there is video, you can see I'm wearing my brand new Goldenrod shirt again. Thank you to Goldenrod Peter, as he is now known. Maybe that was just for today. I don't know. From the morning show with Peter White, who left me this shirt, and I wear it with pride. Very, very excited to celebrate Goldenrod. Also, coincidentally, it's the name of my favorite adult film. But I'm kidding. That's a little joke. How dare I? No, that's I don't mean to don't mean to. Just trying to hit the air horn for that. Anyway, all right. So we are well in hour number 2. Let's get to some other stuff. There's a few. Well, here we'll do something fun. It is still Pride Month after all, and CNN has a story up. This is from CNN.com. This just went up actually this afternoon. This is breaking news in a sense. Welcome to gay hell, Michigan, where only pride flags are allowed to fly. And this is real. None of this is The Onion. This is legit. YouTuber Elijah Daniel has pulled a lot of stunts since he started creating content, but his latest act as mayor of Hell has a lot of people talking. Daniel purchased Hell, Michigan for Pride Month and used the opportunity to rename the town Gay Hell. YouTuber, Gay Hell, which is about 20 miles northwest of Ann Arbor, has been on sale for years. Daniel says he can't disclose how much he paid to be mayor for 2 weeks, as he is in the process of purchasing the town permanently. In 2017, Daniel was also mayor of Hell and banned heterosexual people in the town as a stunt. He says his first act as owner this time was to only allow pride flags after the Trump administration put a ban on embassies flying pride flags. This time, it's not as much of a stunt as his way of making a statement. Daniel says the new purchase is, quote, getting my audience involved in politics by doing it in a funny way, unquote. Daniel is from Michigan and says that he always drove past the town growing up. He also grew up very religious and was told a lot, if you're gay, you go to hell, Daniel said. So Daniel figured that Gay Hell would be perfect in a rural religious area. I like this guy. Daniel said of his decision to rename the town, quote, I'm just from Michigan, and every time we drove past, we knew that town. Oh, that's hell. I just thought turning it into Gay Hell would be funny, unquote. The reaction has been very mixed, I would imagine, Daniel admits, with some people loving it and others very not so much. Daniel explained, quote, it's been pretty good for my fans, a lot of upset Trump fans, but that's nothing new to me, unquote. But Daniel is interested in keeping the town and hopes to make small changes. He says he hopes to do an annual festival to welcome more people to Gay Hell. So there you go. Very nice. And I've always said, too, I think that you can really kind of, that's a great way to engage people politically is through humor. You know, if you can make people laugh, you're more apt to hold people's attention, I think, to get their attention and hold it if you can make them laugh, because people tend to be, you know, a lot of people are very either not interested in politics, either because they're actively turned off by it, or they just, you know, they don't think it makes any difference to their lives, etc. And if you can get people laughing and entertain them in some way, very often you can hold their attention. So I have a very short, this is just a brief Tucker Carlson clip that I want to play for you. And it's regarding foreign policy. And it's just a very quick thing, but involving the, you know, the drumbeat of war growing ever louder in terms of what we may end up doing. And I certainly hope that we don't, because, you know, I keep saying about Iran, I think it's a real flashpoint potentially for World War III. And my sense of it is, and I agree with Mike Doyle on this. Mike said, I think it was yesterday, he called the show and he said he doesn't think that that we're going to war. And I hope that he's right. I want to believe that he's right. But Tucker Carlson, so if you're a longtime listener, you know that my feelings about him are a bit complicated, because it's a complex picture. Because on the one hand, Tucker, you know, and of course he's a Fox News personality. On the one hand, whenever he talks about the subject of immigration, I think he comes off like a raving racist D-bag, probably the very worst on Fox News, to put into that category. And again, we are talking about a network that also employs Laura Ingraham, so that's no small accomplishment. However, when he talks about foreign policy, Tucker is really consistently anti-war. He hasn't always been. Yesterday on the show, I read a little bit of a story to you from Reason.com about Tucker's evolution. Tucker used to be much more pro-war, but like so many of us, he's become very skeptical. And, you know, I've talked about it's very important that we, you know, now Pompeo and everybody is claiming that, you know, the Iranians attacked these tankers. By the way, not only is there a lot of skepticism about this, but even the Japanese, and one of them was their tanker that that was attacked. And even the Japanese are saying, we're not so sure it was the Iranians. But there appears to be this drive in the administration to say, oh, no, it was definitely the Iranians and we got to do something about it. And it's all feeling a bit Gulf of Tonkin. But on this, Tucker Carlson has been consistently skeptical. He doesn't think we should be going to war. He says going into Iraq was a mistake and Afghanistan. And he acknowledges, by the way, and I give him credit for this. He doesn't try to be cute with it and say, oh, no, I always opposed all of that. He acknowledges that he did support the war in Iraq back then and that he was wrong. And so I give him credit for that. And again, he's on Fox, so he's conveying this to an audience that probably doesn't want to hear it because the Fox's key demographic, which is, of course, 70-year-old white male conservatives, don't necessarily want to hear about why war is bad. They would rather hear about why war is awesome and cool and we should go out into the world and kill everybody we don't like. And Tucker is saying something very different. And I know if you're a regular listener, you've heard me mention it a million times. But one of my favorite cable news moments ever was Tucker Carlson's epic takedown on air of John Bolton and his very frightening mustache shortly before Bolton was picked to be national security advisor for the Trump administration, when Tucker just took him apart, and it was beautiful. And Bolton was clearly unhappy. And I'm sure part of that was he thought he was in safe harbor being on Fox. He figured, okay, he's going to be asked a bunch of softball questions and Tucker's probably just going to agree with him on everything. And, because that's what that audience wants. And that's not what he got from Tucker. And Tucker really, it was just beautiful. It was a thing of beauty. I'd never seen anyone take apart John Bolton quite like that. So, again, when Tucker talks about immigration, I think he's awful. But I've really been enjoying what he's been saying about foreign policy. Now, again, this is just a quick thing, but pay very close attention to what Tucker says here.
We've got a Fox News alert for you tonight. The White House has announced that 1,000 additional American troops are being dispatched to the Middle East. That's after what it says is an Iranian attack on 2 oil tankers in the Persian Gulf. In a statement, the acting defense secretary, Patrick Shanahan, says that these attacks, quote, validate the reliable, credible intelligence we've received on hostile behavior by Iranian forces and their proxy groups that threaten the U.S. personnel and interests across the region, end quote. So far as Iran has denied any of this, some allies are skeptical as well. The United States narrative is being questioned even in Japan. That's the home country of one of the stricken tankers. Japan says it's not convinced that Iran is responsible for what happened. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says, in fact, the proof of Iranian involvement is, quote, unmistakable. Of course, this is not the first time the Secretary of State has expressed total confidence in the sinister intent of a Middle Eastern country. Colin Powell made a very similar case to the United Nations 16 years ago about Iraq, and we're still paying the price for that misplaced certainty. We'll continue to follow this story as it unfolds, of course.
I love that. I just, he has a way of doing it that's very sort of, I don't know. He's just really, really good. There's lots of people in media. Well, actually, in terms of cable news, there aren't that many people on cable news who are anti-war. Even on MSNBC, the so-called liberal network, there's plenty of pro-war material there. Remember, you're never going to see, like, when Rachel Maddow brings on, somebody like Colonel Jack Jacobs or, retired Colonel Jack Jacobs or retired General Barry McCaffrey or any of these people who come on and, talk about why it's so important to have more war on top of whatever war we have. The answer to war is usually more war for these people. And, when she or Chris Hayes or any of these other people introduce these analysts, these experts who are going to come on and talk about why it's important to have even more war, they're never going to tell you. And by the way, in full disclosure, Colonel Jack Jacobs sits on the board of Raytheon or Boeing or whatever weapons manufacturer. He's going to directly And I'm just using that as an example. I don't know if Barry McCaffrey sits. I mean, I'm sure he sits on the board of something. But just as an example, they don't tell you that, right? They never tell you. So we're going to have someone on now who's going to tell you about the importance of sending your kids off to fight these wars that have nothing to do with defending the country, but they're going to do a great job of convincing you that it must be done while they're making money from it. And it's not just retired military people either. I mean, we found out eventually during the W administration, both Dick Cheney and Don Rumsfeld profited quite a bit from our adventurism into Iraq and Afghanistan. So, it's a business. And Tucker has a way. I mean, that's just a short clip. There are longer ones. There are longer examples. Like I said, the John Bolton clip is great. And there's others where he really challenges this idea, this basic precept that, the answer to conflict is always more war. Got to have lots of war. And he's not afraid to hit Trump on it, although he's a little bit careful. He is a little bit careful not to hit Trump directly. But then again, I don't think Trump is the one. I mean, maybe it makes sense to be hitting, like in this clip, he kind of hits Pompeo and he reaches back, of course, and he hits Colin Powell. And, and by proxy, I mean, all those people should be shamed. We have kind of short memories when it comes to that, but whether it's Colin Powell, whether it's George Tenet, remember he was CIA director. He said, it's a slam dunk. They got WMD. Remember Robert Mueller. And this is why I always say Robert Mueller is no hero to me. Robert Mueller, who was FBI director at that time, he went and testified. He was part of the team of liars that took us into Iraq saying, oh yeah, they got WMD and there's an imminent threat to the U.S. All those people. So you must, you must not, but you should be skeptical. You should always be skeptical. And it's a lesson that to a large degree we refuse to learn in this country. And isn't it nice for the military-industrial complex that we are a country that is so compliant and so easily misled? We will willingly go to the slaughter and not ask a ton of questions. We have a largely compliant media. Like I said, there aren't that many anti-war voices on cable news, which is still how most people get their news. And we'll generally go along with whatever, and we don't like to think about, I think of the Who song, Won't Get Fooled Again. We don't like to think about that too much. We just, we'll just go with it. Oh, there's a threat. Sure. I always say, if the government were to, because war, if you put war on something, Americans get very excited. We really, really like war generally as a country. So that's why we still have the war on drugs. And of course the war on terror, this open-ended thing. I always say if somebody from the government came out tomorrow and said, you know what, we got a termite problem in this country. It's about time we did something about termites. The federal government must do something about termites. And everybody would kind of be looking around like, what, really? Termites? Is that, I mean, yeah, it sucks if you have termites in your home. You call an exterminator, I guess. What do you do, right? But then if somebody from the government said, no, this problem is so severe, we're going to have a war on termites. And then people across the country would be going, oh, we're going to have a war on termites. Well, we like war. Why didn't you say so? USA, we're going to kill those termites. And then you'd have this, you'd have all kind of funding for this war on termites. You could have rallies of people chanting very patriotic sounding anti-termite slogans. It would be fantastic. So war is very easy to sell. And, and that's why now there's, you got people out there going, oh, yeah, we got to do something about Iran. Maybe we ought to go to war. What a nightmare scenario that is. Before Trump fell in love with Kim Jong-un, there were people chomping at the bit to go to war with North Korea. Can you imagine? I mean, it is unfathomable. Like, just imagine what that would be like. and just, best case scenario, it would be contained to the Korean Peninsula, and you'd have a whole lot of dead South Koreans, probably in the matter of a couple of hours. And that's the best case scenario if we actually went to war with North Korea. Hundreds of thousands of dead Koreans. That's the best case scenario. We don't want to contemplate the worst case scenario now, do we? But, I had, what's his name? Frank Zapparetto. We had a lot of fun with him later on when that little scandal that he went through was happening. But Frank Zapparetto, he sat on that couch in this studio here when Trump was tweeting about Little Rocket Man and giving a speech before the UN saying, we might actually have to completely destroy North Korea. And Frank sat on that couch talking about, yep, I think we're going to have to do it. I think we should go to war with North Korea. Like it's no big deal. Oh, sure. No big deal. Maybe we'll throw around some nukes. There are people, though, who have that mindset, and it's creepy to me. Like, I've known people, like I've had conversations with people who will very, very casually say something like it's no big deal. Like they're talking about what they might have for lunch, who will say, oh, yeah, we ought to turn that place into a glass bowl, meaning, just drop a nuke on it and be done with it. And it's like, wow, that's nuts. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Colonel Kurtz.
Colonel who?
Kurtz.
Colonel Kurtz?
Drop the bomb.
Oh, my goodness.
Them all.
Oh, Colonel Kurtz, oh, my goodness. Well, very nice to hear. He sounded familiar, didn't he? Very nice to hear from Colonel Kurtz. I believe he is a first-time caller. He says drop the bomb and exterminate them all. I don't even know which country he was talking about, if he meant Iran or North Korea or maybe just everybody, maybe all of our enemies. Just wipe them all out. Very, very exciting. All right. Let's see. This is... do we have time to do this? It's quarter of. I had another thing I wanted to get into that's sort of related to that, but it's going to be a bit time consuming, so we might save that for another day. Let's do a couple of quick things to wrap up. Mediaite has a story up about Michael Savage. Now, if you're not familiar with Michael Savage, he's a conservative talk show host. He is nationally syndicated. I get the impression he's not as, I feel like 10 years ago he was a bigger deal, more influential. And I'm not, I know that's me saying that. I'm not trying to, please don't take that wrong. Like, who am I, right? But I'm just saying, though, like he was one of the probably top 10 at one time, one of the top 10 conservative talk show hosts in the country. And I think he's pulled back too. I don't think it's, because he seems like he's made for this era, actually, because his style is very, very brash. He's very far right and so forth. But I think he's probably in his 70s now, and I think he's actually pulled back some. But he's still syndicated on Westwood One, and he's still a successful guy, and he's an author and stuff. And I haven't heard his show in a long time because there's nobody in the local market that's currently carrying his show that I'm aware of. And because there are a couple of conservative talk radio stations here, But, and I'm not going to go out of my way online to listen to Michael Savage, but I used to actually kind of enjoy him when I would stumble upon him on the FM radio because, and I'm a radio guy. I like if I'm driving, I like to hit scan on the radio, see what I land on. And when I land on something interesting, I stop and listen. I still do that now. I still think it's fun to do that and just kind of explore. I like to know what's going on out there in the world of terrestrial radio. But I haven't run across Michael Savage in a long time. But if you're not familiar with him, like I said, he's very brash. He's very right-wing, and very much operates in that zone where he's sort of half traditional conservative talk radio host and half conspiracy theorist. He sort of occupies that midpoint. And I realize the line, I mean, I say it all the time myself, that the line between right-wing conservatism and conspiracy theorism has gotten so blurry that it's almost not there anymore. The two have kind of melded. I mean, we have a conspiracy theory president. He made himself king of the birthers back in 2011 when he, took on, I mean, he didn't start birtherism, but he grabbed it and ran with it when he started talking about Obama's birth certificate. And, he's a big fan of Alex Jones, and, he thinks Rafael Cruz helped kill JFK and all this. So we have our very first, if you needed any greater evidence that conservatism and conspiracy theorism have melded, I think there's your proof right there, right? We have our first conspiracy theorist president. He believes conspiracy theories. So Michael Savage kind of operates in that zone, but he and he can be entertaining just because he's so over the top that even though I probably don't agree with him on much of anything, but I can't help but find him engaging and kind of fun. And also, too, I've always suspected, just like I still think with Alex Jones, and we've seen evidence of it, I've always suspected that Michael Savage is not entirely on the up and up, but I think he's playing a little bit of a character. There's been people over the years who used to work for him on his show as producers or whatever who kind of indicated that, yeah, he's... it's very similar to, it's like in professional wrestling, right? In wrestling, and Easy G, if he's listening, he knows what I'm talking about. They say the best characters in wrestling are when the people who play them are really just being themselves, but they're being themselves with the volume turned all the way up. They're just being an amplified version of themselves. But those are the most believable characters. And so that's kind of what Michael Savage does. And he's kind of a wrestler in that sense. But Savage said something that this is from Mediaite that just really kind of caught my eye. Right wing, I always have trouble saying that. Right wing radio host Michael Savage rips conservative Trump adoration, saying to too many people, he's a demigod. And I thought that was interesting because this is something his audience probably doesn't want to hear. But I say this all the time, how Trump, it's like the greatest example of mass hypnosis I've ever seen. I know very few people who simply like Trump. Most people I know, they don't simply like him. They are deeply in love with him and think everything, they love the way he insults people. And, they love everything about him. It's quite remarkable. And it's, I always say, like Saint Reagan, Ronald Reagan, the patron saint of conservatism, would be jealous, would be envious of the adoration that Trump has of his followers. It's really incredible. And Trump knows it. Trump, like Trump said during the 2016 campaign, he could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and not lose any support. And that actually is true. I mean, obviously he was kidding about shooting somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue. He wasn't really going to do that, but it is true. He wouldn't lose any support if he did. I think most Republicans would just be like, well, the person he shot, I'm sure they deserved it for whatever reason, and that would be it. So, and they really do, like, they worship him, especially Christian evangelicals. They worship him. So it was interesting to hear Michael Savage say this, that too many people, too many Trump supporters treat him like he's a demigod. So it says here, right-wing talker Michael Savage is far to the right and very rarely mentioned by mainstream press. But he's in the New York Times this week for bashing his audience and others on the right over their devotion to Donald Trump. He finds it embarrassing, he says, that so much of his audience treats Trump like a demigod. As the Times notes, Savage is no Rush Limbaugh. He's not even a Sean Hannity, and he airs on Westwood podcasts these days. But unlike the big names, Savage, and again, Savage used to be in that same stratosphere. Savage, maybe the earliest supporter of Trump for president, occasionally has criticism for the administration or its policy. And his audience is not down with that, apparently. Savage isn't criticizing Trump from the center or the left, as many conservative or Republican never-Trump people are accused of doing. But it doesn't make a difference to the devoted, he told the New York Times writer Jeremy W. Peters. So this is from the piece from the New York Times. Read my lips. No new immigrants, Mr. Savage said one recent day, taking a swipe at what he says is just one of the president's major unfulfilled promises. But his skeptical take is not something many of his 7.5 million weekly listeners seem to want to hear as the president prepares to kick off his reelection campaign Tuesday with a rally in Florida. It's not just the listeners, though. He broadens it to right-wing media at large. Quote, to too many people, he's not a human being. He's a demigod, unquote, Mr. Savage said one afternoon after wrapping up a broadcast from his home studio, which sits on a hilltop overlooking San Francisco Bay. This especially includes his colleagues in the conservative media, he said, quote, it's embarrassing to listen to some of these people. The article describes some of the phone calls from listeners taking issue with Savage criticizing Trump over immigration and other topics. Savage was surprised, says the New York Times, by his audience, not just lacking criticism, but being unwilling to even question or second guess anything Trump does. Quote, I don't think they care very much about issues, unquote, he said of his listeners with a hint of disappointment. Quote, they'll vote for him no matter what, because he's not them. I think it's come down to them or us, unquote. So there you go. Savage kind of being critical of his own audience for their devotion to their hero, the exalted one, Donald John Trump. And how are you, sir? What are you? Are you going to sing for us? You adjusted the mic so that it's up high.
It is balloon.
There's a balloon outside?
It is balloon.
Oh, that's from F Troop. Yes. Okay. And you're leaving now? Well, that was great. All right. Well, for our listeners who are above the age of 50, which I'm not, and yet I got and I only know the reference because Hopwood has explained it to me before. That's a reference to a very old television program called F Troop. And so there's a possibility that someone out there listening actually got the reference and found that funny. All right. That's great. By the way, John Hopwood's program is on tonight at 7 p.m. on Channel 23. You can watch it online at manchestertv.org. Let's see. So we'll get in one more quick thing. Or we do have a time for a call if anyone's interested in calling in 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. If you're just tuning in, be sure to listen to the archive of the show, and you can hear Easy G Eric Gagnon calling earlier to apologize to me for the terribly hurtful and mean things that he said this morning. That was on the morning show. I still am just devastated by his words. One more quick thing from rightwingwatch.org. See, I always have trouble. I don't know if anyone, it's subtle enough that I don't know if anyone even notices this when I do it. But sometimes when I say right wing, it comes out right wing. I'm exaggerating now. It's subtle when I actually do it. When I'm demonstrating it, I have to exaggerate it so that you can hear it. Oh, boy. Look who's back with more comedy stylings that no one even a day younger than you will know the reference, I'm sure. But yes, go ahead.
Are you ready for the goldenrod, the jingle?
Oh, okay. Oh, good. Do you need the music?
Don't you? You're the one who has it within his head.
Oh, yes. Well, hang on.
Goldenrod.
So, what did you write a verse, or what are we doing here?
Yeah, I thought you're the
you just
songwriter.
You just want me to start it, and you'll accompany me?
Yes.
Are you jealous of my shirt?
What does it say?
It says Goldenrod. It's got the Goldenrod logo.
Did you get that from Bill Berry's daughter?
No, I got it from Peter White.
Why did he get it?
He was given shirts. Everybody was wearing shirts on the morning show for Goldenrod.
They were at Goldenrod?
I don't think they were at Goldenrod. They were here.
The Goldenrod people were here?
No. Easy G was here.
Did they have the remote show at Goldenrod?
Oh, not yet, but I'm sure that's coming.
I thought it was going to be at Cremeland.
Cremeland?
Cremeland.
Who wants to do a remote there? Ugh. All right, here we go. Oh, wait. We gotta wait for this part.
I'm trying to get Goldenrod to sponsor my show. Or is it Cremeland?
Oh. All right, here we go. Goldenrod.
Goldenrod.
I really like your food and your ice cream.
Oh.
So much better than Cremeland.
No.
I really like your food and your ice cream.
And you've got a superior crapper. Because you've got a crapper.
Yes.
Yeah, flush toilets. Available at Goldenrod. You don't have to go into a 5-gallon plastic can.
Right,
behind
yes.
the shed.
That's right.
Oh! I thought somebody was supposed to write the lyrics to this damn song.
Well, we just kind of improvise it.
Goldenrod!
Well, there you go.
Who's that one? I think I broke my back muscles.
Well, you do have to be careful.
Goldenrod.
Wow.
I'm waiting for you.
Yeah, I'm just
the bassist, huh? No Paul McCartney, you.
Well, I do play bass. That is true.
Hit one of your tenor highlights.
Goldenrod. Really love your food and your ice cream. Really love your bathrooms too.
You can't beat a flush toilet.
When I have to go poo.
Particularly when you have the runs.
Yeah.
Not from Goldenrod, though.
No.
Do you think the crappers are open to non-Goldenrod patients?
Patients?
Well, you might...
I don't think they have... there we go. I don't think they have medical facilities there.
You don't?
I don't think so.
Where is it near? It's not far from the Elliott... Well, it is far from the Elliott Hospital. It's up in Massabesic Circle, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, that's like the farthest place in Manchester. Is it not?
Well, but it's well worth it.
I think Glenn, somebody out that we shall not name, was born between there and another place.
Jenny says, OMG, Hoppy.
What?
I think she was
I thought you had more lyrics.
No, because you got to keep it simple and direct. All right, we have... we'll take this call.
Goldenrod.
We got to go quick,
Hello?
though. Almost out of time. Yes.
Well, hello, guys.
Is this 95.3?
Yes,
well,
it
hello,
is.
guys.
Wow. Well, this is Nicole from Cremeland. I thought I heard you say shout out that Cremeland might call.
Oh, Cremeland. I am a Cremeland fan.
This is a little awkward.
So is Bill Berry, the alderman from Woodtown.
Well, I just wanted to give you guys a shout out and let you know that I listen to your program all the time.
Oh, well.
We take
Thank
bribes.
You. How do you feel about our jingle?
You know what? I'm fine with it. There's so many people in Manchester, and I support small business, and there's only a few of us left.
Bill's
and
Donuts.
So I think it's great. I don't have a problem with it at all.
I think it stinks, but, I'm just a third banana on this program.
And how do you feel about Easy G? How is his performance?
Hello, guys.
Easy G is a character. I got to tell you, every time he comes into work, he makes me laugh.
Yes.
And he's a really good guy, and a lot of people enjoy him. And I think that he's definitely an add to your radio station.
Oh, well, that's very nice. Very nice.
His legs are wrapped up like a mummy's.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Goldenrod.
Well, Nicole, we are
Cremeland.
We are out of time, but thank you so much for the call.
You're welcome. You guys have a good night.
All right, you too.
Well, hello, guys.
Bye-bye. All right, and we are really out of that. I mean,
tune in tonight.
That was a little awkward, though. We were just
for the
singing
Cremeland show.
The golden. Oh, are you doing a Cremeland show on
7:00
113?
to 8 live.
Is that what you're doing?
On Channel 23. We'll have Jim O'Connell, the one-man filibuster, and Jeff Castle.
Oh, very nice.
Who used to be the #1 crank in Manchester until I popped up.
All right, well, we are quite literally out of time. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. I'll catch y'all a little bit later.
Goldenrod.
IPMNation.com.